Hello Horror Hounds, it's tag time again. A little while ago I took part in the Geek Legion of Doom's Would You Rather horror tag and threw that forward to amongst some other people. Rosenfield 10, a YouTube channel that you should check out, run by twin brothers James and Joseph, and they responded in kind and then volleyed back a remix of the same tag, their twin edition of Would You Rather, with some more scenarios. So this is my second bite of the Would You Rather cherry. Let's go. Would you rather spend a night in the Amityville house or the house in the Entity? Amityville all the way for many different reasons. For one, it's not real. Unless it was going to be the night that Ronnie DeFeo Jr. slaughtered his family, which actually happened, I wouldn't want to be there for that night. But any other night, I think I would be fine. That doesn't mean to say that I think that the Entity is true. If I was going to answer the question on the assumption that both events were true, it would still be Amityville. That house took a goodly few days to really warm up to the Lutzes and have them running for their lives, whereas I don't want to be raped by the ghost in the Entity. Can't put it any simpler than that. As much as Jodie the Pig from the Amityville movie, the Amityville horror, and specifically the books freaked me the hell out as a kid. Rapey Entity ghost, no thank you. You are 300 yards away from a shelter. So for everyone in countries who have taken on the metric system, that's about 274 metres. So you're about 274 metres away from a shelter. Running towards it, would you rather be running from the bees in The Swarm or the birds from Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds? Neither scenario is pretty great when you think about it. I'm horrendously out of shape, so 300 yards, so it's like, no. I'd be wheezing horrifically. With a coat over my head, I think I'd rather run away from the birds. They're bigger, they're nasty. I realise that I'm saying that, yeah, I'd like to go up against seagulls' beaks that are about that big and could take my eyes out in a peck. It sounds ridiculous, but the bees can inject you with poison. You can get to the shelter. I think the wounds you sustain from the birds, unless you stumble and fall, in which case you're a goner, I think the wounds could be patched up, even horrific ones, even losing an eye. Hundreds upon hundreds, thousands upon thousands of bees pumping you full of their venom, you can get to the shelter and you can still die from that sort of anaphylactic shock. So no, I run from the birds. Question number 3. Would you rather be locked in a school gym by Carrie or by the hands, I guess, in Idle Hands? Confession time. I've never seen Idle Hands. I'm going to choose Idle Hands because I've seen what Carrie can do in a locked school gym, and basically when her switch is flipped, what starts off as personal revenge, everyone becomes fair game. Everyone. She kind of loses perspective. It's definitely at the end of the novel, because she goes on a rampage throughout the town, which I think cost a bit too much money to put into the film. So I don't know what's going on in Idle Hands, but that's a sort of horror comedy, isn't it? So yeah, I'm sure I could josh along with that. Question number 4. You're trapped in a windowless room, no escape except through one door. Would you rather, blocking that door, have Jason with a machete or Michael Myers with a butcher's knife? So, what Jason? Human Jason or zombie Jason? I don't want to go up against no zombie Jason. Human Jason, hillbilly Jason, especially from part 2, a swift kick to his nuts will drop him. He's not the smartest tool in the woodshed. That said, Michael Myers is droppable as well. I'll probably defer to Michael. If I had my choice of Jasons, I'd choose Jason, and I'd stick in Jason from part 2, and I'd kick him in the nads. Number 5, would you rather be stuck in a nightmare with Tommy Ray from Dreamscape or Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street? Now, this is an excellent question because it reminds me that I need to buy a copy of Dreamscape. I used to love that as a kid. Not necessarily a horror movie through and through, but some real horror elements to it. And Tommy Ray is a sick dude, and he really likes toying with you. Freddy, though, will just kill you. He will kill you for the fun of it, but Tommy Ray does that as well. Right. Let's get down to basics here. Freddy Krueger is a supernatural entity post-death who is now a dream demon who wants to kill you. Tommy Ray also wants to kill you in the Dreamscape, but he is a human with human flaws, human frailties. Plus, he's a twisted little fucker. I think you've got more of a chance of getting under his skin and fighting back than you do with Freddy. Where with Freddy, that's just his playground. He's got home advantage. The next question is really one to ponder over. It's the age-old playground game of marry, fuck, kill. There's no other way of putting it. Although there was a TV series here in the UK called Snog, Marry and Avoid, but we'll stick with James and Joe's parlance of marry, fuck and kill. Laurie Strode, Sarah Connor or Ellen Ripley. Now I'm just going to put it out there. I don't really want to kill any of them, and I would be perfectly at home making sweet, sweet love to all of them. This is ridiculous. However, since I have to choose, I will agree with Jim and Joseph that I would make sweet, sweet love to Sarah Connor for a couple of reasons. I was trying to think about this. We'll file this under too much information. I think it was either the love scene in The Terminator or Jenny Agutter's scene in An American Wealth in London. It's either Linda Hamilton's breasts or Jenny Agutter's breasts were the first I saw as a young impressionable boy. Both scenes and the ladies made quite an impression on me, but certainly the Linda Hamilton, the Sarah Connor in T2, all sort of ripped and laser focus and hard as nails, made me feel funny in my tummy. So I certainly wouldn't marry Sarah Connor because she, quite understandably, we've been told in T2 that she moves from men to obtain the skills she requires to teach John how to survive the apocalypse and lead the resistance. I really can't see her marrying me for any of those skills, so I think it would be a brief and very unhappy marriage. But I do think that we could have one memorable and lovely night together. So I'll choose her for that, meaning I would... Which Laurie Strode? She's sort of... I'm going to commit horror heresy here and say that she's not really much of a character in Halloween. And then after that, she doesn't really do much in Halloween 2 either. So do you want to get married to the alcoholic PTSD Laurie in H20 or the weird cameo to be killed Laurie in Let's see how she turns out in the new Halloween. But I would marry Ellen Ripley. I'd say, which means by default I would kill Laurie Strode. But at least that would give me bragging rights in that I would have managed to do what Michael never did. And don't at me with the, well, no, he did kill her in Halloween Resurrection, because Halloween Resurrection doesn't exist. Everyone knows that. Question number 7. Would you rather be trapped in the bar in From Dusk Till Dawn or Shaun of the Dead? This is really bloody tricky. Initially Shaun of the Dead, because it's an English pub. It's a boozer that I'm familiar with and would be at home in. The trouble is the zombies ain't going to go away. And at least at sun up in the Titty Twister, you could just leave. Plus there are levels and levels and levels. There are more places to go and hold up and hide and try and defend. So I guess at a pinch From Dusk Till Dawn, although I don't think I'd make it through till dawn. The upside to that, now I'm thinking on my feet, Andrew, is that if I didn't make it in From Dusk Till Dawn, I'd get turned into a vampire, which I'd be okay with. If I didn't make it in the Winchester from Shaun of the Dead, I'd get turned into a zombie, and I don't want to be a zombie. Ain't nobody got time for that. Question number 8. Would you rather spend a night in the Bates Motel or the Overlook Hotel? And everyone's going for Bates Motel. And everyone's wrong, and I'll tell you exactly why everyone's wrong. If I was spending a night in the Overlook Hotel, it would be during the open season. There would be tons of other guests. And the hotel doesn't really work on you during those times. Sure, a couple of people here and there. It's when you're alone and it's got time to work on you overtime that it would be a problem. But at the Overlook Hotel, when it's open and full of guests, I would have room service. I'd have all the facilities. Fantastic skiing facilities. I don't ski, but I could learn to ski. The facilities at the Bates Motel, even if Norman isn't going to stab you, are threadbare at best. So yes, I want my room service. It's the Overlook all the way, baby. Question number 9. Would you rather babysit Damien or Rosemary's Baby? Neither. I don't like children. But I guess Rosemary's Baby? At least... At least the Rosemary's Baby isn't going to be at the snooker table going pew, 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 with the balls. I would want to kill Damien, and then I myself would be killed. So I'd babysit Rosemary's Baby under duress, real duress. Finally, would you rather be in line to die in Final Destination or have to 7 days after watching the videotape from The Ring? I guess Final Destination. The thing with the videotape from Ring, I'm going to take the original Japanese, is that originally instructions were left telling you how to avoid your fate because Sadako wanted the curse to spread and wanted to tell you that you had to copy the tape. It's just that for shits and giggles, the kids who stayed in the shack wiped that bit. That's why it's an issue. And you would have to go through an awful lot to try and, as we saw in the movie, to try and find out what you needed to do in order to survive. Such a ball ache. Whereas the Final Destination thing, I think in microcosm really is the human condition. Not to get too deep on a would you rather tag, but we are all born to die anyway, so in one form or another, we're already there. So I'll go with what I'm comfortable with and what I know, which is the existential dread that we're all born to die, rather than knowing that in 7 days I definitely will die at the hands of a creepy supernatural Japanese vengeance ghost. So that was the twin edition, waka waka remix of the Would You Rather horror tag. If I don't tag you and you want to do it, absolutely go for it. But right off the top of my head, I just want... Really, I want to hear what Jambo Shango and Randy Mole answer for the fuck, marry, kill question. So, them, Jambo Shango and Randy Mole, you're up.